a friend here who is has close friends and family up on what's the name of the
The island of Bantayan.
Bantayan Island. Okay.
Bantayan Island.
And there's very little news coming out of there right now, but you went there personally. What day was it?
Yeah, we went there on Sunday morning, about 3 o'clock in the morning, and arrived there by 7:30, 8 o'clock on Bantayan Island after we caught the boat. We saw a lot of devastation along the way, and all the way from Catman to Bogo.
The main highway was clear.
The main highway was clear up until the last 3 kilometers. Then you had to get off the bus and take a tricycle to the pier.
Did you pass right past Bogo?
We did, yeah. You could see the devastation.
I heard it was wiped clean.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. A lot of devastation, a lot of the all the corn fields and the sugarcane fields, cassava, all that's already wiped out. Took the boat across to Bantayan. We got a chance to talk to a lot of the people who are heading over there. Of course,
for the same reasons.
Yeah, for the same reason, to go check on their family because there was no signal, there was no electricity, and so we saw that they were all carrying food, they were carrying water, anything, care packages just to bring to their families, some clothes.
And what was the scene like when you docked?
As soon as we docked, we saw the offices or the building that was on the pier that was destroyed, the windows broken out.
Was there a lot of hungry-looking people waiting? Was it a dangerous
there wasn't
situation?
Now, we didn't see that immediately. We just saw the tricycle drivers, the motorcycle people who were the hubble guys, you know, the ones who were taking passengers to their destination. And of course from the ship you can see where there's a hotel that was pretty much 80% of it gone.
Wow.
You could see
so desperation hasn't quite set in.
No,
at that point.
The desperation hasn't quite set in, because when we were there we did see people who were able to get chickens on the chicken farms. They were giving 4 chickens for 50 pesos away.
That's a good price. Wow.
Yeah, and you can get a flat of eggs for 60 pesos for a flat of eggs.
That's really good to hear. Normally you hear of price gouging in these types of situations.
Well, they did have some price gouging when it came to the fish and vegetables. You know, everywhere you went.
So these low prices, was that just neighbors or?
No, these were the big farms. These are the big chicken ranchers.
Oh, so maybe they had a lot of casualties with chickens.
No, they were live chickens, but here's what happened is they have to rebuild also. And so they can't rebuild with a bunch of, you know, chickens running around and no place to put them, so it's better just to start over.
I see.
And they're probably also a little afraid of diseases, you know, starting if they don't, you know, take care of the chickens, or if they're out in the sun too long. So you see a lot of kids walking, you know, home with 3, 4 chickens like that.
So you went with your friend who has family there, and many children.
First we went and picked up a motorcycle from her brother, and after we picked up the motorcycle, we said, well, let's go get some gas. And then we right away noticed that a lot of the gas stations were completely destroyed. The gas tanks were all the way fallen over, the roofs of the gas stations were fallen down, completely wiped out. Then when we did find a gas station, you're in line for 25, 30 minutes to have to wait for the gas, and the gas prices were the same, but we were at the gas station in line, and Vivian saw one of her neighbors who's also a teacher at the local school, and he said, you know, don't be shocked when you get home, because you don't have a home. It's all been demolished.
And had she heard at that point how her immediate family?
Yeah, and then right away she said, well, how is my family? And he said everybody's okay. There was nobody who was injured, and there was no casualties, so that was good news.
That's amazing news.
Yeah.
Because we all kind of hope for the best but expect the worst.
Yeah, and we were actually hoping that her house was, you know, standing, because it's partially concrete.
I see.
But that was even knocked down.
Wow.
You know, and then we started to head to her house, and as soon as you wanted to go one way, then somebody says, no, that road is closed, you have to take a detour around the other way. And there aren't too many roads, so we had to really take a long way around. And we ended up probably driving another 7 to 8 kilometers out of the way. And finally we got to the road where you can start to see her house. And as we pull up to her house, her 68-year-old father was just numb. He was just in shock, and you could tell that he was just sitting there in front of his house with nobody there, just like a picture out of National Geographic. It was unreal, very, very surreal.
And where was the rest of the kids?
The kids and everything were at her aunt's house. Her aunt's house was spared, and they have 7 families living in her aunt's house, which is probably a house of not even, I wouldn't even say 80 to 90 square meters.
7 families. So
seven
the
families,
average
yeah.
Filipino family is like 10 people in it, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of the families they had 2 kids, 3 kids.
Right.
And
There's a
so
lot of
in the
people.
house, there was over 30 people in the house.
Wow.
Yeah. And
So
then Vivian went to her house, see what she can salvage as far as the kids' school books, any shoes or any clothing.
So this was just yesterday, Sunday the
Yeah,
11th.
that was well, is this Monday today?
It's Monday today.
Oh, so we were there Saturday.
No, sorry, it's Tuesday.
It's
It's Tuesday
yeah,
today.
so Sunday and Monday we were there.
Okay.
Yeah. And
At that time, did you see any outside help?
no, none at all. No. You saw nobody with no Red Cross. You didn't see any Save the Children. You just saw everybody starting to take down the trees and just start the cleanup process. You saw a lot of the people using the downed electrical lines for hanging up their clothes. You know, the cable lines. They were using it just for their clothes, just to see what
Dry
they could
them out.
salvage. Yeah, dry everything out.
And people just making shade shelters out of
Yeah, they were
leftover-
making. They had plastic. They would, anything like that. They would use to sleep under. Nobody was able to buy materials, of course. The rich people that you see with big houses, you saw they already had workers fixing their roofs.
Right.
You saw that.
So the big modern sort of Philippine
Concrete
construction
houses,
houses,
their roofs were also
all
torn
gone.
apart.
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
structures still stood.
The structures were okay. Some of the windows were blowing out, but for the most part, it was just roof damage. And then you
So if people were able to get to a concrete house, and that was the best.
if they were in a concrete house, they were pretty safe. Yeah.
So how did Vivian's family? How were they spared, or what kind of shelter did they?
Well, they went
seek?
to her aunt's house,
I
who
see,
had a concrete house.
Okay.
And that's why there was 35 people in the house,
Right.
because
Just
she
hanging
had
on.
she had 5 kids. Her dad, that was 6, and then you had the aunt who had kids of her own, and she was a grandmother, and then you had Vivian's brother, 2 of her brothers who were there, a sister. You had some cousins that were all there, so everybody bunkered down at the aunt's house.
Thank goodness for that
Yeah.
house.
Yeah, and it was just the school that the kids go to, half of it was demolished, the roof was torn apart, and the other half they're using it for a community shelter, and they have 45 families who are living there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So people want to hear news about Bantayan Island. What would you say, like any numbers on casualties or?
There was no number giving. We talked to some of the local people who said that they noticed that there were hundreds of people either missing or that were washed away to sea, especially some kids at the next island over, which is a pretty small island, so there must have been a storm surge that affected that island.
So storm surge was a factor.
Yeah, definitely at the smaller island. And as far as people who were injured, nobody had said anything about that. But at the
Is there a hospital there?
we did go by the hospital, and we went by the city hall in Bantayan, Santa Fe. We went to the city hall, and of course they have banners up there saying we need volunteers, we need food and water. So they were making a public request for anybody who can help, but all the refilling stations were not operating due to the fact that there was no electricity. So there was no way to get water except for well water.
So they need generators.
Yeah, and yeah, that's it. If you had a generator, you were able to maybe start the process a little faster. And then, like I said, even at the municipality, we saw that there were people lined up donating their services. So that was a good thing to see. But the market, even though the local market, the roof was detached, there were people still selling on a limited basis. One thing that was hard to find, we didn't see any bread. And you know that's a staple of the Filipino diet is bread, but there was maybe out of the whole city, we saw maybe 2 or 3 places who had a small amount of bread. Maybe it was left over.
So a lot of people's livelihoods have been wiped out as well.
There have been, because a lot of it is they have a lot of poultry farms, and so yeah, those were all wiped out, and so it's a whole rebuilding process.
You told me that you brought Vivians
5 kids, yeah,
5 kids.
5 kids we brought back because their house was completely wiped out. They had only two shirts each, or a couple of pair of pants each that they were able to bring back. What I was surprised on is that they never gave a discount for transportation. I was hoping that the ferries and the bus lines would discount the tickets just to help the people.
Wow.
But they didn't. It was still full fare.
Wow.
So we paid full fare for the 7 of us to get back.
You took the bus all the way up?
Yeah, we took the bus all the way up and took the ferry across, which was an hour ferry ride. And as you get to the pier, there must have been 8 to 10 boats that were also underwater, some fishing vessels.
Oh, yeah.
So
many boats wiped out.
Yeah, they were wiped out. So again, more jobs and more companies that went under.
Right.
You know.
Yeah. The economy is going to take a long time to recover.
Oh, definitely. It's again, gas stations that were completely destroyed. How do you rebuild a gas station? You know. And
the little guy's businesses, like, so that's why the aid will have to be ongoing.
Yeah, the aid is going to probably do everything, and probably they'll prioritize go to Leyte and Tacloban and some of the other
because that has the
islands.
most news coverage.
Yeah, Samar, yeah, exactly. That's where the president and the Secretary of Interior, the health secretary, that's where they all visited, where the place where I did see a news report where they had the head of the Red Cross Philippines said that they were going to Leyte with about 2,000 body bags. So that was just an indication to tell you that we're going to start with 2,000 body bags because we believe that there's going to be that many casualties.
Right.
And
there is quite a bit of news coming out of those areas.
Yeah, there is, and they were talking about the airports are still not fully open, so...
Yeah. I heard estimates of up to 10,000 lives.
Yeah, that's what they said. Yeah.
Which is just insane.
Yeah,
it's hard to comprehend.
The numbers being, a lot higher than Katrina in the U.S. So when that happened, they said the storm velocity was at about 260 kilometers per hour, and here it was over 315 kilometers per hour.
Yep, strongest storm ever recorded in the history of the Earth.
Yeah, and so
and it didn't really lose much intensity as it passed through.
It passed so fast. So all this devastation happened within hours. It wasn't even a full 12 hours. It was less than that.
At least it went fast because it has less time to damage. But
yeah, and then We'll go back again next week to bring packages of food and non-perishable goods. We'll bring medicines for the babies because we noticed that quite a few of the babies were sick. We don't want that, whatever they have to start spreading, of course. But we'll bring some medicines, and we'll bring some money to where people can decide what they need to buy if there's something that they can buy.
Do you think they can scavenge clothes?
Yeah, they are. Definitely.
Yeah.
But some of the people were, you see mattresses out being, dried, and whatever they can salvage there, they'll do it because they can't afford to. All their money is going to have to go towards rebuilding.
Yeah.
And
so you're taking care of how many kids now?
Right now, I got a mother who's a widow with 5 kids, so six of them that are in my house, and then we are taking on the responsibility of feeding her brother and his family. Also a sister and her family, and on the outskirts of town or people who are in the remote areas. It leaves them, in a position where it's going to take longer for them to get any kind of resources.
Yeah, they must feel very alone right now.
Oh, you can see it on some of their faces. Yeah, you can, every time we went and we saw a kid, we kind of nodded and, gave a smile. And when we see a young kid with a machete in his hand, we gave him a thumbs up, good job. And, we wanted to let them know that they're doing good things just by helping themselves.
Well, even me and us, our family, and I'm sure you, were affected greatly, even though not physically here yet, but emotionally.
Oh, emotionally,
it's been it's been a real test, and to know you have support back home, it feels good.
My personal project is to rebuild one house for one family, and that would be anywhere from 200 to 250,000 pesos, and that will house one elderly grandfather and a mother and 5 kids. And so that's where we're going to start. And
so
I'm pretty sure more people will move in, but
so the aid will be an ongoing thing in general, and that's another thing. People wonder what agency to go through and who they can trust and where their money is going. Some accountability, but you can really help a family personally.
Right.
In this manner.
Well, we think that direct contact, immediate contact is more helpful. Like I said, our resources are limited.
Yeah.
But I don't think that the Red Cross is going to rebuild a house for a family within the next 6 months.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that we'll probably start our project within the next 2 months. We'll probably have enough resources to go ahead and start the clearing probably within the next week, and then we'll to clear the land and get ready to get some people in there to rebuild. We'll probably be able to do that within a month and a half. Of course, we might not have electricity, but most of this will be with cement and hollow block,
and hand tools.
Manual labor, hand tools.
That's how they normally do it, anyways.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and as long as we can get the supplies and have access to materials.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to stress as well. Is it will be an ongoing thing. So
right.
People's continued support will be much appreciated.
Yeah, and then also we're thinking about maybe donating a tricycle so that they'll have employment. If we can come up with the funds after we build the house to...
Yeah. Tricycle is like the motorcycle with the sidecar, you see.
Right.
Yeah.
It's their local public transportation. So if we can provide that for the family, then they'll also be employable and they'll be able to provide for themselves.
It's
Yeah.
good.
We're just in the planning stages right now. We're into the day and day. We're making sure that the kids are not suffering, and making sure that the kids have an activity, something to do every day, so that the time goes by a little quicker.
Right.
They're still. It's funny because these kids are farm kids, and when I took them in my car, I had to teach them how to open up the door and lock the door and roll up the windows and roll down the windows. They have never been into a private car.
Wow.
And some of these kids are 14, 15 years old.
Incredible.
And they've never been in a passenger vehicle before.
They're with their mom right now.
Half of them, or 3 of them, are with their mother, and 2 of them are upstairs.
2 of them are upstairs. Do you think we could get a chance to meet a couple of those ones?
Yeah, I'll call a couple of the kids down.
Okay, hi guys. You just went through a very big storm. Hi, English is probably limited.
Yeah, you just went to a big typhoon, huh?
Mm.
Tell him your.
Can you tell me your names one by one?
Your name and your age. Tell him where you're from. What is your name? And how old are you?
13.
And where are you from?
Bantayan Cebu.
Atop, Bantayan Cebu.
Nice to meet you.
And your name?
You
11 years old.
11 years old, and you're from?
Bantayan Cebu.
Very nice to meet you.
And your name? Chris? How old are you?
3.
3.
3 years old.
Yeah, where are you from?
Cebu.
Cebu.
Yeah, and
Good to meet you.
My name is Sam. My age is 8. Where I am in Basak, Lapu-Lapu City.
Nice to meet you too. And then we have a few other family members that aren't here right now.
yeah, they're at the restaurant working, helping out their mother.
This is probably a silly question, but the storm was very scary, yes?
Yeah.
Were you scared, girls? The night of the storm, you were scared? Yes. And can you tell them what happened to your house?
Very shy.
I wrote
What happened to your house? It fell down?
bye.
It died? Yeah. They used the word that their house is patay.
Patay, yeah, that means
Yeah.
dead.
So their house is dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're happy you are safe. Very happy you are safe.
Yeah.
And we have people that are going to help.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about the rest of your family? Everybody's okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Nobody's hurt? No? Okay. And what about your school? What happened to your school?
Dead.
Also, your school is dead, right? No more school. And what about the other families? Did they start living in the school? How many families are living in the school?
40 above.
Yeah, above 40 families are living in the school now for just a place to go because their
Right.
house also
So
died. So
40,
they also
40 families just living in the school.
Yeah, and I'm sure the numbers will increase.
Sure.
Yeah. We saw people carrying their personal possessions, and we saw them going. We said, "Where are they going?" They said, "We're going to the school."
What would you
or shelter?
say can be used most effectively?
Right
What do you
just-
need?
Right now, just food and medicine.
Yeah.
And I've talked to other people who have done some relief work for other disasters in the past, and they said the first thing is always food and water. The second thing would be clothing and shelter, and then you go down the line to see what the rebuilding process is going to take.
Right.
And after you can assess the damage, you can't obviously build what was previously there. because in case something else happens. So, you know, the rebuilding process has to be a stronger structure.
Right.
And so it'll be more costly. But I know that we have estimated a cost of anywhere from 200 to 250,000 pesos to rebuild for Vivian's house.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking for roughly around $5,000 to $6,000 in donations just to build one house.
Mm-hmm.
And we know that there were two houses, her father's and hers, that were destroyed. But she said no need to build two houses. We'll just build one, and then the father can live with her.
Right.
And that's the way we're going to approach it. Hopefully, the hollow blocks and cement will be stable,
Mm-hmm.
you know, so that people can afford to donate and people can start the rebuilding process. Again, there's no electricity for, they say, with maybe a month, maybe longer.
Yeah.
So you can imagine that
The hardships.
the hardships that they'll have to go through, because there's a new storm that's supposed to be coming through this Sunday night. Was a very clear night. And
Yeah, tell me about where you stayed Sunday.
well, we actually stayed outside. We just put some boards out, and there was one bed that obviously had no legs, but the top bed of the top part of the bed was
Right.
still usable. And so we actually slept on that, although it wasn't level.
Mhm.
It was slanted.
Yeah, you
And,
just slept right out under the stars.
Yeah, we
on the
slept
bed.
right underneath the stars, and there were so many stars out, you wouldn't even think that there was a
Mhm.
typhoon the night before. I've never seen so many stars in the Philippines before.
Mm.
It was the most amount of stars I've ever witnessed. It was incredible just to see that.
Mm.
And again, you would think, oh, you know, this was just, 24, 36 hours removed, you know.
Yeah. So at that time, you didn't feel security was a problem.
But security wasn't a problem. There was nobody who was looting.
Mhm.
You still saw the kids around with smiles on their face.
Mm.
Kids are pretty resilient.
Yeah, it's amazing. And Filipinos in general.
Yeah, yeah. And we were able to, you know, even for some of the older people and neighbors and stuff, they just wanted to get a little anesthetized, and so we bought a couple of bottles
Mhm.
of Tanduay
Mm-hmm.
so that they can at least, you know, get through
Right.
the devastation of it all.
I can understand that.
And they were, you know, grateful that they can at least get food and
Mhm.
something to drink for the night. So
Yeah.
it was all in all, it wasn't a bad experience. It was
More positive.
it was more positive, yeah. And we tried to come there with an attitude of hope,
Right.
you know, so
That's
that
good.
not all was in despair. That, you know, when we first saw her father, it looked like, I said, just something that you see on the cover of National Geographic,
Yeah,
just an
it's
old man
shocking.
sitting there with nobody to talk to. And then by the time we left, we saw, you know, we gave them some money, and you saw smiles on their faces, and
Mhm.
you saw that, oh yeah, you know, somebody came and they got love enough for
Yeah,
them to
somebody
think about
cares
it.
about
Somebody cares. That's what they want. You know, they want to know that somebody cares. And we saw the news that on other islands, relief was not coming fast enough. There were some reports that some people were going to not get taken care of for the next 24 to 36 hours. So agencies were a little bit slow. That's why we kind of said, let's get there as fast as we can,
Yeah.
because we knew that if you're depending on the Red Cross or Save the Children, or
It takes time to organize
They-
those
they-
massive
yeah.
corporations.
And even that, they said that there were some Red Cross people on the ground, and they were bunkered down on a 2-story concrete building, but their windows and their roof got blown out, and all their computer equipment got destroyed.
Mhm.
So
That's Bantayan?
And no, that was in Leyte in Samar, and so even at the eye of the storm, Red Cross, it was even affected. So when Red Cross is affected themselves, then who do you go to?
Right.
You know.
So Red Cross Central Philippines was located there.
Yeah, and they have different areas in Cebu also, because Cebu is one of the closer major cities.
So distance from Cebu City to Bantayan Islands, would say there's a freeway in LA. How long would it take to get there?
Well, actually,
by car?
it took us 4 hours by bus.
By bus, and they're stopping all the time.
Yeah, well, no, we weren't stopping all the
Oh,
time
really?
because the bus was full,
Ah,
and so it was pretty much a
straight go.
straight go, and then.
But the roads are windy and tight.
Yeah, they are. You got to go over a mountain pass, and then it was an hour. It was an hour.
My toothbrush.
Okay, we'll get you a toothbrush. And so we had a hour boat ride, but to get on the boat took over an hour, and also to stand in line. There was just people waiting in line to get their tickets, and you would see people who even got on the boat without tickets.
Just jumped
So
on.
they just jumped on the boat thinking that
Yeah.
but
That was going there, coming back.
yeah, it was going there. Yeah, yeah.
People
it was going
desperate
there
to see
because
how their
they
loved
They were that
ones-
desperate to see their families.
Yeah. And get news.
Yeah. So overall, like I said, it wasn't. It wasn't for Vivian and her family. It wasn't as bad as other islands, thank God. And
Or other families on Bantayan.
yeah, and the other families in Bantayan, she has lots of cousins and second-degree cousins and third-degree cousins who they had concrete houses, so they had limited or minimal damage to their property.
Did they have much warning? Like, was there people warning them that the storm was coming?
They knew that the storm was coming.
That's
But
good.
again, when you're on a piece of farmland and
You don't get the news that quickly.
yeah, these people, they don't have TVs or cable. They were just word of mouth. We heard that people were pretty much centralized with each barangay. So each barangay captain and each
And a barangay is a village.
yeah, so each little village was told that the storm is going to come in 3 days, and get prepared, make sure you have enough water, make sure you have enough food. A lot of these people were farmers, and they grow corn. Vivian's family, they grow corn, and they had a lot of corn that was already ready for milling, but the milling plant is closed also, so they're not able to mill any of the corn. And then a lot of the new crop is destroyed. But what I found also interesting, other than the homes being destroyed, where you see a whole clearing of trees that were all cut at the same spot. So they're all knocked down at the knee level.
So
You
the
know.
damage was kind of random.
But it was consistent. So that you would see, like, there was 100 trees that were planted, and they were. She told me they were mahogany trees.
Oh yeah.
And you would see like 100 mahogany trees that were all cut at the knees, all at the same height,
Wow.
and they were all slanted at the same, place, so that you saw that it was almost something like you see out of one of those robot movies, where the robot just,
Yeah.
sends out one of its weapons, and it just cuts everybody at the knees, and that's what happened to all the trees. And
Wow. And that mahogany is a very hard wood.
it is, yeah. And we saw some of the biggest trees that were knocked down that you would think even a bulldozer wouldn't be able to knock that tree down.
Wow.
And sure enough,
Yeah.
those trees were knocked down. And
Right.
whatever trees were standing they were just barren, no leaves on them at all. So
Yeah, it's an incredible force of nature, and
yeah.
we were all really scared here in Cebu. you were probably hunkered down as well.
We were. I had 3 of the kids that I wouldn't let outside.
Mm-hmm.
We were, monitoring the wind
Right.
and the trees, making sure that none of the trees would fall on the house. We had a couple banana trees that fell down.
Yeah.
We had our neighbor who had the plastic roof that was peeling off. Some of his aluminum roof peeled off. We had trees in the neighborhood.
Did it get as bad as you thought it was going to get, or were you
No, I
thinking,
thought it was going to get worse.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that there was going to be more devastation in Cebu, but it really wasn't.
No, we got a very lucky.
And just coming off of a earthquake 3 weeks ago, that was 7.1. On the Richter scale.
Only 21 kilometers away from this location.
Yeah, exactly. And with the earthquake and then the typhoon, we kind of like dodged 2 bullets.
Yeah.
So
it's been high levels of stress for the last little while.
Yeah. And the kids have been out of school for several weeks because of the earthquake. We've had over 2,300 aftershocks.
Yeah.
So that was something that the kids are always a little bit on the edge about.
Yeah, up until the storm, I was getting the sense that I always felt an aftershock.
Yeah,
and I don't know
even if you didn't get an aftershock.
I think my mind is playing tricks now.
Yeah, because my kids sleep in my bed, and if the kids were even to move at night, I would wake up.
Every little bump.
Every little movement, I would think, oh, the bed is shaking.
And then you instantly go into alert mode, like,
yeah,
is this going to get worse? Do I run out of the house?
Right. Yeah, you don't know what action to take, and again, we had flashlights ready, and like I said, always had extra bottles of water and anything that we thought if it does get bad, what do we need? But thank God it didn't get that bad.
Yeah, I prepped like crazy for that storm as well, and I also tried to get the word out as best as possible.
Sure. Yeah.
While still.
I've already talked to some of my friends who said that they've gotten several $1,000s worth of donations, and a good friend of mine, Simon, today is on a little mission up north with a truckload of food and water. So he was told that he can get a police escort.
Good.
But they will cost 10,000 pesos. Rather than spend the 10,000 pesos on the police escort, why don't you go ahead and buy more food and water, and then just drop everything off at whatever barangay hall and let them do the distribution for safety reasons.
Right.
Because sure enough, if you come as a foreigner with a lot of food, there'll be people who will start to...
Very risky.
It's very risky. And even the Red Cross is looking for some kind of protection.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I told him to not do the distribution himself, just to make one centralizized drop-off. He's going with a group of other people. They're going in 2 trucks, and like I said, but you'll be outnumbered no matter what. But the thing was to definitely drop it off in a central location so that you're not personally handing out the relief effort. You're letting the locals take care of that themselves.
Yeah, that's much better
much safer.
idea.
Yeah. But again, because of the devastation was so vast, and it was to a degree that everybody lost everything they owned. I don't know what the future holds, but I know that these kids, I'm going to have to maybe get them into some kind of local school within the next week. I'll have to, buy bedding and clothing, and today we were shopping for toothpaste, toothbrushes, food.
Yeah.
I treated them to some leche manuk, which they love, and yesterday we had pizza just to give them a sense of little bit of love and caring.
Food is always comfort too.
Yeah.
They've been through a lot, that's for sure.
Yeah, and so we're just taking it, like my sister said that she was involved in a relief effort in China, and said that so many casualties were there that they just had to use a lot of the areas for burial. So that was the main thing, because if you have that many people who perished, then you definitely want to take care of that issue right away. Yeah. So again, it's
just to mention, have you noticed extra air traffic around here?
No, we haven't. No.
Yeah, I've been
some
noticing
helicopters that were flying overhead, but
yeah, I've been noticing the Cebu is a hub. It's another way for supplies to come in from the south end.
okay.
And I've seen a lot of transport
Have you?
planes, cargo
Okay.
planes.
I haven't noticed
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I'm a bit of a airplane buff, so
Okay.
yeah, I've been seeing those, and so aid is coming. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
But that aid and agency does take time.
Yeah, and again, they're prioritizing where the aid is going to go,
Right.
and so the heavily devastated areas will get the assistance first,
Yeah. And
and then some of the smaller islands that you would think they need just as much assistance, but they're going to be last on the list,
yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's just an incredible experience.
yeah, we just want to let people know to, don't forget about the Philippines in the coming months.
Right.
We don't need to, we need the aid to continue. We need the support to continue for maybe 6 months, a year. There is no, there is no last chapter here.
Right.
It's, the book is unfinished,
Mhm.
so we're gonna still be writing the story as we go day to day.
Yeah.
So
We're part of a group that is a world organization, and the aid is there's already been 3 truckloads heading up North Cebu Island.
good.
Big,
Yeah.
big trucks.
Yeah.
So we all got to take care of the people that we can,
Yeah.
in any way we can.
Yeah, it's every individual who's going to have to show just an exuberant amount of compassion towards those that don't have and those that are in need.
Yeah.
So I hope that everybody is willing to sacrifice their own personal materialistic things. We're also going to be selling and getting rid of some of our household goods, and we'll do a little garage sale to raise money for food and medicine.
Do your own personal part.
Yeah, we're definitely going to be selling some of our things that we're not using on.
Yeah, a lot of people think that locals that live here, they think that we're rich, but it's really not the case, is it?
No, we're just a middle class family who's able to provide for our family, and we're not driving nice cars, and we're not taking trips overseas. We're just an average family here. So for us to be able to give it's
a little difficult.
It's also a little bit trying, yeah.
Yeah.
It's but we're making an effort, and because we're able to call back to the U.S., like I said, we've already had commitments for donations that will be coming in the next few days or a week, and then we can start the process to get this process on the road so that these people can get their lives back.
Right. Yeah. For me, I have to travel back to Canada every year to work to make an income, and the sooner that money runs out, the sooner I have to leave my family as
Sure.
well. So
Right.
it has its challenges, but there's also great benefits to living in this country as well.
Oh yeah. Well, we are here for our own personal reasons, and I've been here for 10 years now.
That's a good stint. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we're not planning on leaving anytime soon because of an earthquake or a typhoon.
Right. Yeah. Me only 4, and I that was another thing. We did have the option to get on an airplane and fly to safety.
Right. Yeah.
But we couldn't leave our loved ones behind.
Yeah.
You know, like
And we also
extended
have some of our
family.
friends that didn't feel safe at home. They actually went to hotels.
Yeah,
So some of the foreigners who had the resources,
Right.
even though they live in concrete structures,
Yeah.
they felt safer in a hotel.
yeah, because you just didn't know.
They didn't know how.
I had the same reservation, but last year when we had that scare and the typhoon, what was the name, Bofa?
Yeah,
It went
yeah.
south instead of hitting us. It
Right.
went to Davao area.
Right.
It killed over 2,000 that one.
Sure.
And we went to a hotel that time, but
Okay.
you know, it didn't sit well with the family because like there we were in a safer place,
Then
and
they were,
and they were not,
Yeah.
you know. And so I didn't think of it that way at that time, but
Right.
this time we chose to be with the family. And
Okay.
Yeah, they had a good,
Okay.
they had a strong bungalow,
Right.
cement.
Okay.
So it's just better that everybody's together, I think,
Right.
anyways.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. You're in a position where you have to make decisions,
Mhm.
and you know, like I said, I actually when I built my house, I didn't use a hollow block. I used EVG panel, which has a rating of up to 7.5 earthquake proof.
wow,
So we felt pretty safe.
I don't even know what that stuff is.
It's the styrofoam with the wire mesh,
Oh,
and then you put concrete on both sides.
oh okay, so it's got a
So
good
there's got a
flex
little
to it.
give in there.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, and we don't have any cracks. We had some water damage, but
Hell yeah.
that's about it. It's still minimal.
Yeah, we've got a few cracks from the earthquake.
Yeah.
We have some water damage. Well, I wouldn't call it damage. Our house got a little wet inside during the storm.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, we're all just very lucky in this particular area, and it's hard. It's hard to celebrate after a time like
No,
that
there
because there's
was,
so many people that
Yeah. There was a couple of stupid comments I heard by people that you just have to ignore.
Mhm.
But you know, you know that it's something that what you do is you look at the human factor,
Yeah.
and wherever you can give assistance based on their needs.
We're noticing that a bit in the Filipino community too, as well, like on Facebook and stuff. Like people are saying, "Okay, enough with the selfies. Let's take pictures of your fellow man. We know you look beautiful." So
Yeah.
that's coming from within the Filipino community, and they're saying, "Let's get together on this too.
Yeah.
Don't focus on yourselves. Let's focus on others."
Right. Exactly. Yeah. This is a time to give, and the end result will be that you'll have houses that'll be built stronger.
Hmm.
You'll have probably, you know, like I said, more support coming from other countries that are well aware of the situation, so that people will get, you know, some kind of financial relief, because there's, again, the average wage here for an average worker might only be $250 a month. It's 300 pesos, 330 pesos a day.
Yeah.
So they don't have a lot of income to start with.
Yeah.
And
People don't really comprehend that until they
yeah,
actually go and see where these people live and how they live.
right.
Even
yeah.
myself, I didn't really understand until I did get to meet some people in the community that do live like the average
Yeah,
Filipino, and it's
yeah. My workers.
sobering.
Yeah, my workers. We feed them 3 meals a day. We
Mm.
take care of Delodoy's family because his salary is not enough to compensate. So we always make sure that the whole family eats every day.
Yeah, that's kind of part of the
Yeah.
the culture, how things work here. People think of nannies and maids back home very differently
Sure.
than it is here. Here they're kind of they're part of your family. You've
They are.
basically
They
adopted.
live in our house.
You've
so-
adopted them,
Yeah.
And
our maid has been with us for 3 years now, and we've been putting her daughter in the same school as my son. They're in the same class. They go to the same private school.
mhm.
So I support all their domestic needs
Yeah.
on a daily basis, and
Yeah, I was really kind of against the idea of having a yaya when I first moved here, or a maid, a helper, and but once I understood that you're actually really
Well, you're providing
helping,
employment.
you're providing employment, then it was a lot easier for me to accept.
I've always had a maid and sometimes yaya, because I always felt that if I'm giving a salary, then they can take care of their families. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I always looked at it as not in a abusive or in a way that would
Kinda
help
like
me, but it frees up.
slave
Yeah,
treatment.
no, it actually it's a benefit to them, and we give a little bit higher salary than some of our neighbors even. Because we can never give them a lot of money,
Yeah.
but we do give them a decent wage, and then we provide education for their kids, and then the type of food that they get to eat, they're not able to provide if they did have a regular job anyway.
Right.
So
And the way the family dynamics works here is that everybody gleans whatever they can, and then it goes into the pot for the
It does, for
greater good of the family. So
Yeah.
your maid will bring everything back
yeah,
and give it to the family, and the other members of the family, maybe they're fishing all day, and